So I've got this old small case. This was something that my dad bought for me just at a car boot sale or something like that. And it's pretty tatty. I've no idea how old it is. I'm going to be using it for a Victorian style craft project. I don't have any thoughts that this might actually be a Victorian suitcase. I know it's not that old, but it's in a pretty bad way. I mean, this is peeling off here. There's areas where the stitching is missing completely or worn away. It's not great. I am, at the moment, I'm not planning to do any work on the outside at all. I mean, I probably will just glue that down to stop it getting any worse. And maybe there might be some other areas that I might glue if it seems to be in danger of coming apart. But I want it, the point of my project is I want it to look old and battered. Like, this is supposed to be something that somebody's found tucked away in an attic. It's not supposed to look new. However, I am planning to tackle the inside, because the inside is pretty shocking. So I don't know who Marion Sibley is, but apparently she used this box as a first aid kit, or a first aid kit. And it's like really water stained and ripped. We've got these straps that stop it flapping completely open, but on this side, you know, it's come completely apart. So I am planning to replace these straps, and where they're fixed through the outside, they've got these rivets. Now, I don't think they are going to be reusable, but I have got some brads which have got a similar look. Yeah, so I mean, this is kind of, I don't know if you can see, it's sort of sticking out, but I don't think it's going to be reusable. In terms of the lining itself, this is currently, it's just like a paper lining, but I'm planning to line it with fabric if I can. I've watched a few videos of people relining suitcases, and I've not found one that's quite right for what I want to do. So it's going to be a little bit of trial and error and figuring out as I go. So maybe this video will turn into a how to reline your old suitcase, or maybe it'll just be this introduction and then I'll just show you at the end what it looks like. I don't know yet how that's going to go. In terms of fabric, I've got 2 old shirts that belonged to my granddad, and again, not Victorian, but probably a similar age to the suitcase actually. Originally I was thinking I would do this striped fabric because it's kind of similar to the old like the ticking fabric, but then I really like this one as well. I've not decided yet whether I want to just do a straightforward cover in the lining in the lid, or whether I'm going to add a pocket. That might be too complicated. I want to kind of try and keep it simple so that I don't get too ambitious, but we'll see. Before I start ripping the old lining out, I thought it would be wise to have a look at how the original lining was put in, because that might help me make some decisions about how I do the fabric. So it looks like on the bottom there's one piece that goes sort of from the back across the bottom and up the front, and then the side pieces are separate because there's kind of like a sharper corners, whereas in the back corner and the front is more of a curve. So that would kind of make sense that would follow around. Initially I thought it only went up to the rim here, but there is some paper that goes above, so maybe, oh actually on this side, you can see that the paper went right up to the top lip. Hopefully I'm in frame. So I'm not sure what to do with the fabric. I'm not sure whether to do the same with the fabric and take it up to the top, but that's going to be difficult, I think, to get a neat edge. So what I might do is, because there is a lip here where the leather is kind of folded over, I might just take the fabric up to that lip there, and that might be a good place to kind of hide the top of the fabric. And again, on the lid, I mean, there's no evidence at all of lining on the sides of the lid. It looks like it just went up just a little way on that top lip and then across and down here, just sort of near the hinge area. Oh, look at all that mank in there. Okay, maybe I will clean that out a little bit as well. So yeah, so that's, hopefully that will help with the actual logistics of, you know, where I'm putting the fabric. I'm not quite sure yet whether I'm going to glue the fabric in directly, or whether to glue the fabric onto card first and then glue that in. I don't know. We'll cross those bridges as we come to them. Okay, let's see how easily this comes out. This bit should be fairly easy. Might be a case of just taking out the loose bits and not worry too much about the bits which are properly stuck down, because I might end up doing more damage if I try and get rid of the bits that are well stuck. Would have been nice if it had come out in one piece, so I could use that as a handy little piece. It would have been nice if it had come out in one piece, so I could use that as a pattern for the fabric, but that's definitely not happening here. Okay, let's see how we do with the top. There's a little hole there. Sorry, Marion Sibley. I wonder how old she was when she did this, whoever she was. And it's really wrinkly from where it's got damp. I mean, I don't know what it's made of, but it's kind of paper-like construction even itself. It's obviously not leather, but okay, so I'll carry on and get as much of the lining out as I can, and I'll show you what I've managed to achieve after. Okay, so I've done as much as I can peeling out the paper from the inside. Most of the paper that I got off came out quite easily. Obviously these bits are still well stuck down, so I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm toying with the idea of maybe doing a coat of like Mod Podge on the whole inside, just to kind of seal it before I start putting any lining in. The paper which was sort of glued around the edges on the leather, I don't know what else to call it, I know it's not leather. This was really stubborn, it was stuck really well on here. So what I had to do with that bit was just dampen the paper, and then I could scrape it off quite easily without damaging the layer underneath. As for these retaining straps that stop the lid falling completely back, I had actually thought that I might do the new straps shorter than the original straps. So at the moment I'm thinking I might actually use the originals. So all I've done is I've just cut off the top of this one that was ripped, and then just neatened the corners, and then cut this side the same length. So I'll see if I can just reuse those. If not, then, you know, I'll see what else I can come up with. But these are still very firmly attached at this end, and I worry that I would do more damage if I tried to take this off, because it's really firmly fixed through the side there. So that's where I'm at the moment. My next thing is, obviously I need to do some sealing of it. So as I said, I'm thinking that I will seal the inside before I start doing any lining, just to kind of try and protect this you know, cardboard kind of lining. Because also on the bottom, where this was really damp here, there's actually kind of a looseness to this layer as well. And obviously I don't want to peel that off, because there would, you know, I would lose a lot of strength of the bottom of the case, which I don't want to do. There are also some areas that I want to seal on the outside. I mentioned earlier about this flap that I wanted to glue down. Well, while I was fiddling around with the case, cleaning up the lining, that loose bit actually fell off. But of course the next bit here still has the stitches worn through. So I'm thinking I might just use the Mod Podge again, and just all the areas, all the sort of bound areas where the weakness is, especially where the stitches are worn completely through. You know, I might just try and use the Mod Podge just to kind of seal that as well. And I also noticed that there's some damage on the handle. So again, I will probably just seal that just to try and stop it getting any worse. So that's where I'm up to with the case. Oh yeah, and I did clean out in that hinge area a little bit as well. I didn't want to get too aggressive in the cleaning, because it's just kind of that fabric covering the hinge, so I didn't want to risk damaging the outside fabric whilst poking in the gap there. I had planned to just hold on to the footage that I filmed today, and then make a complete video once everything's finished. But what I've decided to do is just post what I've done so far as a part one, and I don't know how long it will take me to come back and do the part two with the lining. But if I post this part, it will give me that incentive to carry on and do the more tricky bit with the inside. But in the meantime, please feel free to let me know what you think about which fabric would be better to use on the inside. From a historical perspective, I think that the blue and white stripe would probably be closer to a kind of period kind of fabric that might have been used for lining a suitcase. But this one is kind of a more subtle. So at the moment I'm really torn between the two. And I know obviously at the end of the day it needs to be my choice. But I would be interested to hear your opinions as well. Actually, now I've got both hands free. Whoops. Let's see if I can do a better job than I did earlier of trying to give an impression of what it might look like with the lining. Oh dear, I'm not doing a better job with two hands than I did with one. Okay, so obviously it's very chunky. That was just sort of like an indication of what the stripes might look like. And then this more subtle one. I don't know, what do you think? I actually like them both. This is going to be, I'm thinking it's going to be tricky actually doing the lining, but I think the most tricky bit is going to be choosing which material to do for the lining. Okay, let me know what you think, and I know I've not really showed very much in this video, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Thanks for watching, and hopefully it won't be too long before I come back and show you a lined case.